Good morning and welcome you all, 22nd batch student of Raghunath Medical College. Today is our discussion in a long case. Today's topic is benign enlargement of the prostate. So whenever a long case in a final examination, first you takes time to take the complete history taken from the patient, then you write in the paper. And after that, examiner see your paper and asks few questions or some examination, then your chapter is complete of the long case. So to take history of the patient thoroughly, it is the main thing. You ask the patient cooperatively and take all present and past illness taken from the patient, then write in the papers. A good and complete history will take you to the correct diagnosis. So in the written paper, whenever you write the history, the first heading is the particulars of the patient. So that particulars having some headings. So first the name of the patient. So the name, first write Mr. X like that, then age of the patient. The age is related with the disease process of the BEP. For that reason, you must take the history of the what is the age of the patient is. In the elderly patient, usually BEP develop. Male sex, the disease process is male, so sex is male. Religion. So the religion you write there Muslim or Hindus. So in case of other than Muslims, there is a more chance to other diseases maybe like a phimosis or balanitis, gerotica obliterans, etc., which causing some obstruction of the urine flow. So religion also carefully write there. And occupation like farmer, marital status, present address, and permanent address. That two things is very cautiously written there because if subsequent any follow-up needs or trace out the patient, you communicate with this address. And another point nowadays is required the mobile number. If you're possible to write the mobile number, so it is needed for subsequent information give or take from the patient and write in the paper the date of admission or date of examinations. Because whenever a patient present in your examination, so the patient is admitted 2 to 3 days before or 5 days before. So you examine the patient after 5 days. For that reason, date of admission and date of examination, you write it there. So brief chief complaints must be right there because that chief complaints dictates you what is your subsequent diagnosis. It can key point, so that reason you must write the key points. Only 2, 3, or 4 chief complaints you write there. So in case of BEP, usually that type of presentation present. This is a sample rating there written there. Increased frequency and urgency of micturition for 9 months. What is the duration? You must write it there. Long duration, you first write there. Then after that, difficulty in micturition for 6 months. Then unable to void urine for 18 hours. If the patient present to your hospital in that manner, you write it there. If the patient present to your hospital after putting a catheter, so in that case, in the number 4, you must write it there. The patient is unable to void urine without catheter. If the catheter placed in the urethra at the time of admission, so you write it there. The patient is unable to void urine without catheter. If on admission there is no catheter, only retention, in that case you write it there unable to void urine for 18 hours. History of present illness elaborately describes the presenting features. means like that, according to the statement of the patient, he was reasonably well 9 months back. Then he gradually developed increased frequency and urgency of micturition, which is about 10 to 12 times a day, and 6 to 7 times at night. So that night symptom is more important for doing surgical decision or not. For that reason, that night times duration, micturition frequency, you must write it there. He had to wake up from sleep several times for micturition. He also complained of difficulty in micturition for last 6 months as a form of poor stream, not improved by straining, associated with hesitancy, intermittency, post-micturition dribbling, and sense of incomplete bladder empty. But for the last 18 hours, he was unable to void urine. He has no history of passage of pus or blood with urine. That means to exclude the complications. Weight loss, that thing is not written in your paper. For your understanding, I write it there in a different color. Weight loss, cough, chest pain, or yellow discoloration of the eye and skin to exclude carcinoma prostate. That means whenever the carcinoma prostate present with metastasis, some presentation like that. For that reason, you write it there. Weight loss, cough, chest pain, or yellow discoloration of the eye or skin. There is no history. Yes. He has no history of pain in suprapubic regions. It means to exclude the bladder stone or bladder neoplasm. And no history of urethral instrumentation to exclude stricture urethra. His bowel habit is normal. With the above complaints, he got admitted in this hospital for better management. Then you write the history of past illness. Is there any history of diabetes mellitus, hypertension, tuberculosis? So all important things is written because whenever you go for surgery, there may be some complications. So you can, if you know your previous past illness, so you can control the diseases and go for surgical treatment. Past medical history, that means if the patient having a previous history of prostate surgery, so nowadays there is a chance of stricture or there is a chance of bladder neck stenosis. So for that reasons, you take the past medical history. So is there any history of any surgery or any disease for which patient is hospitalized previously? Drug history is very important because that type of patient is an elderly one. So they are having some comorbid diseases and a lot of drugs sometimes taking along with this new presentations. So previous medications, you must elaborately write it there because if the patient having a history of taking medicine like aspirin, clopidogrel, warfarin, so you do the surgery, the prostate surgery, there is a more chance of development of hematuria, subsequently more uncontrolled bleeding may develop. For that reason, that drug history very elaborately written there. Family history, ask this, all family members are alive and healthy. And personal history, ask the patient smokers or betel nut chewer because these are patients having some respiratory diseases may be associated with. For that reason, that personal history you must write it there. If the patient is smoker, so you must write it there how many sticks per day he smoke. You must write it there. Average number you must write it there. It can dictates you what about the severity of the smokers causing lung diseases or not. Socioeconomic history, asks if he lives in a mud house, building, drinks, tubal, etc. Immunization history, if completely immunized according to EPI schedule or not. Allergic history is must be written there because some drugs having allergic history, if you push this drug, subsequently there is more chance of anaphylactic reactions. For that reason, the drug allergic history, you must write it there. General examinations we discussed in the previous lectures of the long case discussions, so we don't repeat it there. Now we only discuss about the local examination of the abdomen and genitourinary systems. So the presentation is the urinary systems. For that reasons, we examine local examinations of abdomen and genitourinary systems. So first in inspections, inspect the abdomen. So abdomen is normal shape. Most of the respirations, umbilicus is inverted or not. There is no visible swelling, ulceration, discharge, sinus, engorged vein, scar mark present. So that thing you must write it carefully because if the patient having a previous history of stricture urethra or the prostate surgery, there is a retention or there will be previous history of suprapubic cystostomy, so there is a chance of scarring there, or there is any chance of ulceration in the suprapubic region, which dictates you the patient having some sorts of surgical intervention done previously. For that is a local examination in that part is very cautiously look there and write it there. And hernial orifices, you must write it there, are intact, because whenever the patient is difficult to void in urine, there is a more chance to development of hernia. So if associated with hernia, for that reason, don't ignore the hernial orifices. You look carefully, ask the patient to cough and write it in the papers. The hernial orifices are intact or there is associated with hernia. External urethral meatus is normal in size and shape if the patient having no history of any surgery or any complications. So look at they are normal. If there is any associated with pinhole meatus or there is a associated metal stenosis, subsequently the dual pathology may present. So in case of metal stenosis, so the patient gives you a complaint that the obstruction fills at the tip, not at the inside. So whenever the difficulty is felt in the tip only, it indicates that the patient may having a metal stenosis or phimosis there. And penis is not debated. Is there any configuration in the penis? You must write it there. Then if the patient having a catheter there, so you write it there, two-way Foley catheter, periurethral in situ, you must write it there in local examination, inspections. Two-way Foley catheter in situ, periurethral in situ, you must write it there on local examinations. Then palpation. Abdomen is soft, no tenderness. Liver, kidney, spleen are not palpable. Urinary bladder. If the patient having a catheter, there is no chance to develop a palpable bladder until and unless catheter is blocked. So be careful about it. Whenever a patient having a BEP with catheter, don't write it there. The bladder is palpable. Be careful. If bladder is palpable, accidentally write it there. Then the examiner must ask you questions. Why the bladder is palpable after putting a catheter? Be careful about it. Then your answer is it could be blocked by clot or debris. For that reason, the patient is unable to void urine now and the bladder is palpable. Usually, whenever I put a catheter, there is no chance to development of palpable urinary bladder. Then you examine both the testis and epididymis. Is there any tenderness, any swelling, any nodularity, any cystic swelling, etc. or not, associated or not? Because whenever a patient has BEP, there is a infection in the urinary tract, retention of urine, or some stasis of the urine causing retention, that causing infection. That infection is migrated through the vas deferens, go to the epididymis, and there is a chance of development of epididymitis or epididymoarchitis. So associated with epididymoarchitis present or not, you can evaluate that examination findings. You might write it there. It indicates there is no infection now in the testis and epididymis. So write it there. Both the testis and epididymis is palpated normal. So about the percussion, whenever the bladder is empty, the abdominal percussion is tympanic, and auscultation bowel sound is present. Whenever bladder is full, suprapubic region is dull. The examination will be incomplete without digital rectal examination. In this case, whenever the symptom is urinary tract, you must do the digital rectal examination. So digital rectal examination finding must write it in your local examinations. So whenever you go for the digital rectal examination, first inspect the perineum, then put the finger inside the anus. For that, on inspection, there is no abnormality in the perineal regions. If associated with some disease like skin tag, anal fissure, fistula, etc. present, you must write it there. Some scratch marks there. Pruritus ani, having some itching, so there is a scratch mark. So if there are any abnormalities, you write it there. And if that the findings you write it there, the examiner become happy because you sincerely examine the DRE. So if any abnormality, you can write it there. No harm. It is your plus point. But don't write too much or false writing there. What you find, you must write it there. Then palpation. On palpation, first you palpate the anal wards, lubricate the fingers, palpate the anal parts, negotiate your finger after accustomed to the finger with the anus, put inside the anal canal and lower rectum. Then you palpate whole of the anal canal and prostate and surroundings. Then write it there. So whenever put your finger inside the anal canal, the anal sphincter tightly grip your finger. So that tightness you can assess what tightness it is. If there is a lax, no force apply over your finger, it dictates that the anal tone is not too much. That means there is a laxity, there is an anal tone is decreased. So if there is too much tighten there, it indicates that anal tone is increased. So it is your perceptions which felt by your finger during examination, you write it there. So your disease process in the rectum, so mostly you write it the anal tone is normal. Don't write it the increased. But if you write along with plus point for the anal fissure, so there is a more chance, so there is an increased in anal in tone. But there is one question is, in case of anal fissure, is a contraindication to do the DRE. So be careful, don't write the anal fissure on inspections. If there, you can ignore it better for your passing the exam. And then filling your prostate. The prostate you feel it is enlarged. That means the upper limit of the prostate cannot be reached. That indicates the prostate is enlarged vertically. So the prostate is enlarged, your findings right there. Surface is smooth, firm in consistency, and median sulcus is prominent. So that indicates most likely it is BEP. So that findings you write it there. Rectal mucosa is free from the prostate to exclude carcinoma of prostate. And after withdrawal of the finger, it is blood, not blood stain. So it also dictates that there is a less chance to develop malignancy. It is most likely benign lesions. The other examination, you write it there, respiratory examination system, cardiovascular, nervous system, reveals no abnormalities. Because there is some associated abnormalities may present in the elderly patient, for that reason you write it there. If the gross findings there, you must write it there. This abnormalities there. Then you write, then the examiner asks, after that presentations, sometimes the examiner asks the questions, present the salient feature. So whenever the examiner asks you questions, they present the salient features. Then you present like that manner. It is one of the format. You may change here and there according to your choice. The presentation must be palatable one. And all the information you can deliver in your salient features. So you can easily take soft corner to the examiner. So Mr. X, 60 years old, non-smokers, non-diabetic, normotensive farmer, hailing from South Surma, Sylhet, admitted to this hospital with the complaints of increased frequency and urgency of micturition since last 9 months, which is about 10 to 12 times at a day and 6 to 7 times at night. So all the abnormality can dictate already written there. He had to wake up from sleep several times for micturations. He also complained of difficulty in micturation for last 6 months as a form of poor stream not improved by straining associated with hesitancy, intermittency, post-micturation dribbling, and sense of incomplete bladder emptying. But for the last 18 hours, he was unable to boil urine. He has no history of hematuria, pyuria, weight loss, cough, chest pain, jaundice. He has no history of suprapubic pain, no history of urethral instrumentation. His bowel habit is normal. On general examination, he is anemic. If it is not anemic, not anemic, non-anemic, non-nicteric, non-cyanosed. Pulse is beats per minute, blood pressure is millimeter mercury, temperature is degrees Fahrenheit, centigrade or Fahrenheit, what you write there. Respiratory rate is breaths per minute. That things you must write in the paper. Breaths per minute. Pulse beats per minute. That is sometimes missing in the paper by the students. So always write the pulse beats per minute and breaths per minute. On local examinations of abdomen and genitourinary systems, abdomen is normal in shape. Most of the respirations, umbilicus is inverted. Hernial orifices are intact. Testes and scrotums are normal in appearance and palpated normal. No organomegaly is present. On DRE, prostate is enlarged, smooth surface, firm in consistency, medial sulcus is prominent, rectal mucosa is free from prostate, and after withdrawal of fingers, it is not bloodless. Other system reveals no abnormality. Then write your provisional diagnosis. So after giving your salient feature, then the examiner asked, what is your provisional diagnosis? Provisional diagnosis means the diagnosis is only taken from the history. Whenever you support along with the investigations, then you go for the confirmed diagnosis. So from the history, your diagnosis is acute retention of urine due to benign enlargement of the prostate. So the patient presently unable to void urine and catheterization done after admission. So that reason for that is writing the acute retention of urine due to benign enlargement of the prostate. So if the patient having a catheter there, you write a benign prostate with catheter in situ. So benign prostate with catheter in situ. Then what about the differential diagnosis? So differential diagnosis, that means you write it there. What are the causes to difficulties in void urine? So usually there is two causes mainly. One is the enlargement of the prostate with carcinoma prostate, or the patient having any obstruction in the urethra. For that reason, only two differential diagnosis is sufficient for your exam, right? There are carcinoma prostate, another one is stricture urethra. In case of carcinoma prostate, so what are the points in favor from that history? There is the obstructive symptoms present, urgency, hesitancy, etc. On DRE, points in favor, prostate is enlarged. So what points in against? There is no history of weight loss, chest pain, bone pain, hemoptysis, jaundice, etc. And on DRE examination, firm consistency, median sulcus prominent, no blood-stained finger. If it is a hard inconsistency, then the points in favor of carcinoma prostate. So it is firm, so it is points in against, that means it points in favor of benign prostate. So points in against, that points are in favor of BEP. So you write it there, against point means positive for BEP. Then what about the stricture urethra? In case of stricture urethra, there is poor stream. So there is no hesitance, no history of hesitancy. Cord-like, if the stricture urethra, sometimes the urethra become feeling cord-like appearance. In corpus spongiosum, you feel there, gross stricture there is a cord-like feeling there. So cord-like feeling in the urethra and not felt on palpation. On DRE examination, prostate is normal. So stricture urethra on prostate examination, so pointing against, the prostate is not normal, it is enlarged. So it is pointing against. Then examiner asks, how will do some relevant investigations to confirm your diagnosis? So how to proceed? Then your answer, I will do some relevant investigations to confirm my diagnosis. Your answer. So then the question asked, then the answer is, what are the investigations to confirm the diagnosis? So there is two headings. For diagnosis of disease, so directly go to the ultrasonography of kidney, ureter, bladder region, prostate with MCC and PBR. So in the examination, sometimes asked by the examiner, what is MCC? So in that time, they are unable to give the answer. They become nervous. So be practice it. Without practice MCC, always read maximum systematic capacity. Maximum systometric capacity. That means maximum volume of urine held by the patient in the urinary bladder, which is called MCC, maximum systometric capacity. Whenever the patient feelings of micturition, unable to difficulties in holding the urine, at that time you do the ultrasonography and measure the volume and write it there. So it is the MCC. It is measured by ultrasonography probe. Then the patient sent to the toilet and go for micturations, and after that again do an ultrasonography, which is called post void residue. Post void residue of urine. PVR measurement, post void residue. That things must be remembered. So what is MCC? What is PVR? That things you must ask. Then other investigation like uroflowmetry. So uroflowmetry also can dictate you what is the stream, prolonged time of maturation region, maximum voiding volume, maximum flow of urine, and what is the duration of maturation time, what is the void of urine in the machine. That is measured in a graphical way, that is called a uroflowmetry. So that also dictates you the patient having any obstructive symptoms or not. Then transurethral rectal ultrasound, transrectal ultrasound. So ultrasonography of the abdominal probe is sufficient for confirmation of the BEP, but in case of carcinoma of prostate, it is better to do, if possible, transurethral ultrasonography. That means transrectal ultrasonography. That means ultrasonography probe is introduced inside the rectum. So the probe is directly touches the prostate. He can easily better images and lesions present or not seen in the monitor. So for that reason, transrectal ultrasound is better. But it is troubleshooting for the patient. And another one is serum prostate specific antigen. So serum prostate specific antigen, it is needed because in case of carcinoma of prostate, this prostate specific antigen is increased. So it is a baseline investigations. So do as PSA, prostate specific antigen. And another one investigation is X-ray kidney, ureter, bladder region. So every explanation you must know, because every investigation sometimes query by the examiner. Why you do it? What findings you can give? You can what findings you get in your BP? Why you do it? That query sometimes asks. So for that reason, every investigations you must read carefully and write it there. X-ray, plain X-ray, kidney, ureter, bladder region. That means you exclude there is no radiopaque stones, no stones is there, because some prostatic enlargement having acid infection and stasis there, stone formation there along with, or the patient may present with the urethral stones. So that can exclude it to do this X-ray. Then other routine investigations. So that routine investigation is needed to exclude other diseases and prepared for the patient for fitness of general examinations, general anesthesia, operative anesthetic fitness. So complete blood picture count, complete blood count. So that needed, because the total count hemoglobin, that hemoglobin if is low, the patient needed to correction first. If the patient having an infection, so the total count is increased, so the patient need immediate antibiotics starting to control infections. Then urine, routine and microscopic examinations and culture and sensitivity. Always do it, associated culture, because routine examination dictate you there is a past cells. Don't say the organisms. For that reason, if you do the culture and sensitivity, that culture can dictate you what organism infection having there and which antibiotic is more sensitive, so you can treat the patient preoperatively, started antibiotics and control the infections, so there is less chance of complication postoperatively. And random blood sugar is needed because if the patient has diabetes, it is not controlled, then there is more chance of infection. So diabetic patient treat simultaneously. For that reason, I do random blood sugar. Serum creatinine is a very important investigations tools for the treatment of the BEP, because whenever a patient suspect having a BEP, there is obstruction, there is some urinary tract obstruction causing impairment of the renal functions. That renal function is confirmed by doing a serum creatinine. If the serum creatinine is increased, it indicates the renal function is impaired. Then serum electrolytes. So serum electrolytes can do for whenever a patient has urinary infection, there is some electrolyte imbalance, because that patient PEP is usually having elderly patients. So elderly patient having some comorbid illness, there are less chance of intake, less fluid intake, less salt intake. So the patient may having associated with serum electrolyte imbalance. So you do the electrolyte, correct it before operations. Chest X-ray is mandatory because doing the chest X-ray, you prepare the patient for surgery. Doing the chest X-ray, you exclude to some there is no carcinoma posteratis metastasis in the chest, and for that reason you do it before doing any surgery. And ECG also need, because if the patient, elderly patient having some cardiac disease may present, if the abnormality is seen in the ECG, then you do for echocardiography. So echocardiography can give the information more than ECG, because by echocardiography, sometime ask in the exam, what information you gather by doing an echo. So sometimes some examiner asks that type of questions. So it is a basic questions. So your answer is, by echocardiography, I can see what about the ejection fraction of the heart is, and is there any motion defect, weakness, slow motion in the cardiac muscle. It indicates that area may be infarcted previously and causing the motion is less. And also give the thickness of the atrium and ventricles, that can evaluate the patient does not have a hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, etc. Or the patient may having some aneurysm of the heart, which can detect only by doing an echocardiography. So echo is not written in there. You don't write it there. If the patient student achieve more mark, sometime asking the examiner, and in that time you can give that type of answer. Then, after all the investigations, then the diagnosis is called the confirmatory diagnosis. Confirm your diagnosis by taking the history, examination, investigations. All three things proved it is diagnosis acute retention of urine due to benign enlargement of the prostate. So then you go for the treatment plan. Then ask what treatment you want to do now. Then your level answer straightforward is, the answer is transurethral resection of the prostate and biopsy under a spinal anesthesia. And biopsy you must write it there. Though it is not written there, you write it there, because the confirmation benign or malignant by histopathology examinations. So the treatment option is transurethral resection of the prostate, not excision, it is resection. Be careful about it. So TURP abbreviation everybody must know, because sometimes some students say the name of the operation. What do you do now? TURP under spinal anesthesia. So for your level, never ever practice TURP, because whenever ask the examiner what is TURP, then you don't able to give the answer. For that reason, you must read transurethral resection of the prostate is better, and biopsy under spinal anesthesia. So your treatment is final. Then whenever the histopathology report is come to you, then you confirm final diagnosis is benign hyperplasia of the prostate. The histopathologist see in the under the microscope the nature it is hyperplasia, don't enlargement. Enlargement is the macroscopic findings. Hyperplasia is the microscopic findings. Cellular hyperplasia is there. So your final diagnosis is BHP or BPH. So it is confirmed the final diagnosis after achieving or giving the biopsy of histopathological reports. So that is about your presentations and counter query questions, etc. Then the examiner asks, show me how you palpate the urinary bladder. Please show me how you renal angle tender examinations. Show me how you elicit the billet of the kidney. Or may not be related to the urinary systems. Some generalizations sometimes ask the examiner. So how you elicit anemia, how you elicit jaundice, how you elicit edema. So in your long case is the BHP, the other question may be asked. Show me the ankle jerk, show me the patellar jerk, etc. So all the general examination always practice and be prepared. Any time in the long case may ask in the exam. And after that, sometimes they ask some relevant questions with that disease related. Some counter questions sometimes asked, like what are the zones of prostate? So your answer is there is three zones. One is transitional zone or periurethral zone, central zone, and peripheral zone. Next question is in which zone BEP and in which zones carcinoma prostate occurs? So BEP develops in transitional zones and carcinoma of prostate occurs in peripheral zones. Be clear your conceptions. Around the urethra, BEP, periphery, carcinoma of prostate. Then the question sometimes asked in the exam, what is acute and chronic retention? It is repeatedly asked in the exam. So first differentiating point is one is painful condition, another is painless conditions. So that this acute retention, sudden painful inability to void urine in spite of a full bladder. The full bladder is tender on palpation. It is acute retention of urine. In case of chronic retention, inability to void urine completely in the presence of painless distended bladder. Inability to void urine completely in the presence of painless distended bladder. There is some voiding there, but that voiding is overflow incontinence. Be careful about it. Whenever the bladder is painless swelling there, so there is a chronic retention, the bladder is usually distended 1 liter, 1.5 liter urine can accommodate in the urinary bladder without having a more symptom. So in that time, the urine which is produced by the kidney passing through the ureter, go to the bladder, that overflow then passes through the urethra to some extent, which is called the overflow incontinence. Then the ask questions, what is MCC? Maximum cystometric capacity. It is the volume of urine that the urinary bladder can accommodate it before the patient experiences a strong, uncontrollable desire to urinate. So that term complete your, otherwise it is not MCC. Whenever the patient say, I have effect of micturition, I have some discomfort from me, I want to micturate. No. Whenever it is unable to held up, at that time you do the ultrasonography. So is the volume of urine that the urinary bladder can accommodate before the patient experiences a strong, uncontrollable desire to urinate. What is PVR? Post-void residue. Amount of urine left in the bladder after voiding of urine, usually less than 50 ml, is considered normal. The volumes greater than 100 ml is generally considered abnormal. But that PVR having some controversy issue, you must carefully counsel the patient, go to the toilet, micturate completely as far as possible. Then you examine the patient. Then your PVR is complete diagnosis. Sometimes some patients, some micturition, after some void of micturition, they come back and go again for PVR. No. You counsel the patient, you void the urine as far as possible. Whenever there is no voiding arc, then you wake up and go to the ultrasound room and do an ultrasound again. So PVR is whenever it is more than 100 ml, it is significant. The patient needs for surgical intervention. What is the medical management of BEP? So we prescribe the patient some medical management in earlier stage like alpha blockers, selective and non-selective. Selective, non-selective one phenoxybenzaimine and alpha 1 selective receptor blockers, tamsulosin, 0.5 milligram once daily, and 5 reductase inhibitors. It is a finasteride. These two drugs we prescribe in case of BEP. But before that, you must do the prostate-specific antigen. If prostate-specific antigen is increased, so there is a chance of malignancy. So in that case, don't prescribe the 5 alpha reductase inhibitors. What is LUTS? That means LUTS means lower urinary tract symptoms. What are the components of LUTS? Irritative symptoms and obstructive symptoms. That irritative symptoms having storage symptoms. Fun, F-U-N, for remember easy, fun, F-U-N. Frequency, urgency, nocturia. That three things dictates it is irritated symptoms. And urge incontinence, obstructive symptom, that means voiding symptom, that means hesitancy, go to the toilet, go for micturition, he is unable to void. Then straining to pass urine, incomplete bladder emptying, intermittency, prolonged micturition, post-micturition debris. So these are the obstructive symptoms. Which fluid is used as irrigant during QRP? We usually used during irrigation fluid is 1.5% glycine in case of monopolar QRP. But in case of bipolar QRP, don't use the 1.5% glycine. We use the normal saline. It is the advantage of bipolar saline QRP. Then what is the position of the patient during performing QRP? The position is lithotomy in position. Then what is the which investigation will do to exclude carcinoma of prostate? So for exclude carcinoma of prostate, you do a serum PSA, you do the prostatic biopsy, and you do the other investigation of metastasis like chest X-ray, X-ray QB region, liver function test, and bone scans. These are excluded for metastasis. For confirmation, prostatic biopsy is more specific. At least 12 core biopsy per rectal or perineal approach is needed to confirm your carcinoma of prostate. 12 core biopsy. Then name some malignancies which causes metastasis in the bone. It is very favorite question of the examiner. That means the bone metastasis usually develops mainly in the thyroid cancer, breast cancers, lung cancer, kidney cancers, and prostate cancer. But in case of prostate cancers, the lesion is osteoblastic lesions. This bone where the cancer cell is spread there, they settle there and multiply there, and the area of the bone which is involved become more dense, white in nature. So it is called the osteoblastic lesions. So osteoblastic lesions, in case of male, always examine, always your diagnosis is most likely until and unless probes, it is carcinoma of prostate. So in a screening purpose, whenever you're having some pain in the abdomen, do an QB X-ray for stones, you may diagnose that the patient having some white density over the pelvic bones. So that pelvic bones is due to the deposition of the malignancy of the prostate. So that area more dense, which is called osteoblastic lesions. So whenever you find the osteoblastic lesions, because most of the patients are presented, are asymptomatic, they does not having any presentation there. After doing autopsy of the individual non-symptomatic patient, if you do the 100 patient, 100 individual or 1000 patient, do the autopsy in a normal death, you may find that the patient having a undiagnosed carcinoma of prostate is there. So for that reason, carcinoma of prostate may be present asymptomatic maybe. So do the X-ray, there is a osteoblastic lesion, then you examine the rectum, confirm your diagnosis by digital examination, do the prostatic biopsy, histology proves the patient having malignancy. So these are about the various questions of BEP and carcinoma of prostate. So read other theoretical questions from books. The chapter you read from the books, there are theoretical questions which are not covered by the long case discussions, which is read from the books, and be prepared for your final examinations. Because the BEP is a very favorite topic for the general surgeon, urologist, everyone. Because lot of patients, in elderly patient having a BEP. But nowadays is a good thing is the operative decision is less needed because the tamsulosin is a good drug to decrease the operation rate because it relaxes the prostatic urethra. The patient can void urine. The patient can relieve symptoms more. So the incidence of prostate surgery nowadays is more becoming less. It is good for the patient. And another thing is surgical interventions. We do the QRP, sometimes ask in the exam, what are the types of QRP? So there is a unipolar or bipolar saline QRP, another was laser therapy, another was evaporation of prostate. So these are the various modalities. What the patient effort, what the facilities available, you can do with that facilities. Previously, whenever we are students, we see there is no TURP machines available 20 years back in Sylhet City. We look there is a prostatectomy open. Mostly in the transvesical prostatectomy, very few are retropubic prostatectomy. So these are the previous fashion. Nowadays, these are obsolete one. Nobody can do it in the surgery for benign prostate open surgery. Always prescribe the patient, go for the intervention surgery, like minimal invasive surgery like TURP. So these are about the long case discussions. So read carefully, be prepared for final examinations, and always in the COVID period, you are rest in the home. So you examine in your home with your sister or brother, general examination done, kidney palpation, bladder palpation, etc. Be practice it, which can helpful for you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for patient sharing.